Welcome to Light Logic, the podcast that discusses everything you need to know about low voltage lighting. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. You're listening to Light Logic.
Hey, welcome to our latest edition of the Light Logic podcast. Today we have Tom Kuenzi, the manager of our SDSP program, going over what the program does and how you can submit your plans. It was a great conversation. We really hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Hey everyone, thank you for checking out our podcast today. We are going over in this episode our Specification Design and Support program, which is internally known as SDSP. For short. Today we have Tom Kuenzi, which I said it wrong and he'll correct me in a second because I've been calling him that for 9 years. He has been with Unique over 25 years, been in the field, been in troubleshooting, customer service, and now he's the manager of our SDSP program. We don't usually use a title for him, we just call him Dr. Tom. How are you doing today?
Doing very good, thank you. How are you doing, buddy? I know that you're not feeling well.
The show must go on, as they say.
The show must go on.
So, what's your quick explanation of what SDSP is?
Well, the specification design program was really to start supporting like architects, the DSMs out in the field, and history will show back years ago, architects like to put what we call dots on a plan or marks on a plan. And that was okay, but the issue with that is they weren't comfortable doing the engineering. So an end user, a contractor, a homeowner, whoever that would be, would get a plan and have fixtures all over, but it was left to whoever's going to do the installation to wire it. Sometimes that could be good, sometimes that could be bad. And Unique started offering this service as we would engineer the job. We would completely wire, engineer the job. So there's no guesswork. You know exactly the amount of wire you're going to need, the hubs you're going to need, the transformers you're going to need. And there's far less chance for any kind of an issue. I always like to tell people that a lighting system is only as good as its foundation. And a lot of plans lack the foundation. They had the pretty fixtures, but they had no foundation. So, you know, you get a good installer. Go ahead.
Oh, let me go back a couple steps if people aren't familiar with Unique. If they're listening to this, I'd hope they are, but Unique Lighting Systems, we specialize in low voltage landscape lighting. Our take on the market has always been to train our contractors and make sure that they understood that this is an electrical system at the end of the day. And if it isn't put in correctly, it'll cause failure and even possibly fires. So when he's talking about engineering it, it's making sure that all the electricity is correct. Because even though it's low voltage, it can still heat wire up and cause various problems. So with SDSP, we had architects that were putting little dots on a plan and saying path light, up light, whatever. And then we now have said, we're going to find out how much wattage, how far the run is, all these pieces of information so that the system can be electrically correct. Is that kind of a basic gist of it?
No, that's absolutely it. And, you know, what we're doing is we're basically then giving an architect to a sense of security. When they're offering that plan with lighting on it, they know that it's been engineered correctly. The end user then also knows that he has a guideline, so the installer will be installing it to that engineering spec. So there's no guesswork. There's no chance for an issue. If it's installed as planned correctly, the system's going to be bulletproof. It's going to work correctly.
So in the same manner that irrigation plans show flows and pressures, etc., we're doing that with lighting, and most of our contractors are already familiar with following spec plans for irrigation, and we're letting them do that with lighting instead of winging it.
That's correct. You know, and it's just taking all the guesswork out of that plan, and then you have a legitimate as-built after the job is put in. You know, the end user also can hang on to that plan. So if there's ever a situation where they need to go back and troubleshoot or know where runs are or the size of runs or where hubs are, that plan is their map. That's their guide to exactly how it was installed. And what SDSP did is it grew. And with that growth, it started expanding from not just architects or really high-end homes. It started expanding to our DSMs, helping homeowners and contractors both alike, creating plans, hand-drawn plans, or actual legitimate planting plans from architects, or even Google Earth photos. And we take that work off their table. We will, what I like to stress to people is understand that more information to us, the better. So an example would be a contractor's working with a homeowner, and they don't necessarily have an actual architectural plan. Well, a contractor can very simply take a scaled piece of paper, draw the outline of the house. Most scaled paper, you could call each square 3 feet. Draw a basic outline of the house, footprint, draw the planters, draw the walkways, draw the driveway, and say, we want to put lights in this planter. We want to light these trees. A very simple drawing. And as long as it's on a scaled paper, Unique will take the guesswork out as far as they may know they want to uplight, they may know they want a path light, but they don't know exactly what fixture to use or exactly what wash light to use. This is where we can get that plan and we can lay out the correct fixture for that application, the correct lamp for that application, and take it as far as right down to wiring the job, the proper transformers. But again, information is key. I like to encourage people to think about what is your material budget. It's just one of those simple things where you don't go shopping for a car that's listed at $100,000 if your budget is 20. You just kind of want to discuss this and you want to come up with a legitimate material budget. This way, you can put the dots on the plan as a contractor or as a homeowner or as an architect, or we can. But the more information you give us, the better the design's going to be. We're going to lay it out to the specification and the budget that you have and make the best use of the product laid out so it's balanced, it looks beautiful, the effects are correct, and the right fixtures are chosen.
So let's go back and kind of see what this does for the customer. I'm a DSM, so I've used it with some of my architects and customers. We have a project that wants lighting. Maybe the architect has already put lighting where they want it. Maybe they don't know where it is. So kind of the step from there is we hope to get an architectural plan is the best. A blank one is the easiest thing for you to work with. If we can't get that, the scaled drawing, we have done Google Earth. I actually have taken drone pictures at times to make it easier because Google Earth is notoriously behind, always in the area you're trying to get a picture of. Next door will be yesterday, and the one you need was 3 months ago or 2 years ago. So where do they go to enter this stuff that you're talking about, the budget, kind of what they want to do in their documents?
Right on the Unique website, www.uniquelighting.com, when you click on that and go to the website, right up in the top header, you're going to see Design Services. Click on Design Services. It's going to explain what SDSP does and give you some examples. Down at the bottom, it'll say Submit Design Request. That's going to give you the ability to fill out all the information, who you are, the address of the property, in case we have to pull up a Google Earth. We need the complete address. It's going to ask you for a material budget or a budget. So we can base that. We can work off of that. And it's going to give you ability to submit files, whether that's a planting plan or it's a hand-drawn plan. Now, some people will say, I don't have a scanner. I don't have a way to send you this plan. Well, nowadays we have smartphones. As long as you lay a plan out or a drawing out on a table, you can click a photo with your smartphone and you can just submit that photo. The key here is that the more information we get, the better. If you say, I don't want to put the marks on the plans, but I specifically want to light all the trees in the front yard and the walkway, or I don't want to light the trees in the front yard, just the walkway. You give us information to work off of, and we can then lay that out ourselves. We can put the fixtures on the plan if you don't want to. Scale. Sometimes people will say, well, I don't know what the scale is. And you can do things like, what's the driveway, the width of the driveway? Give us, if you use a scale drawing, I'm not an artist, but I can make a pretty good scale drawing. And then you say the driveway is 16 feet wide. That gives us an idea. So
You can
we can
extrapolate from there.
correct. And then the other important thing is, where are your pointed connections? It's very important to know where the transformers are going to go. And I always like to tell people, you really want to separate your front and backyard at the very least. This may be a large project that's going to have 20 transformers on it, but your basic residence has a front and a backyard, and typically that's what's happening. And it's always better to separate those two. So pick your pointed connection and say the transformer is going to be mounted by the AC, the air conditioning condensers, or give us a reference, because we have to wire that transformer to the fixtures. So we really need to know that location. So scale is important, transformer location is important. And then if you just say, I want uplights here, I want path lights here, we can pick the proper fixture for you for that application. Or you can go on the website and you can pick the fixtures. The one thing I want to state, though, is SDSP has always been a free service. A lot goes into creating a plan. It's time consuming, and you get a legitimate, beautiful plan at the very end. But that service is offered for our Odyssey line of fixtures. The times we will deviate from using Odyssey is when there is no fixture specific in the Odyssey line, such as a ledge light, an ISO. That would be where we would go out of the Odyssey line of fixtures and use from one of our other lines. But this is exclusive to the Odyssey line of fixtures.
Will you put other companies' fixtures on there?
It depends. Like, if this is a 20, 30, 40 light job, but the customer really wants to use a specific look, a path light that has a certain look, we'll oblige that. We'll work with them on that. The one thing that, we have to calculate or look at is most fixtures from other companies are not going to have the 25-foot leads. So, the contractor's going to have to put leads on those fixtures. And the real important part of that is whatever fixture they're going to be submitting to us to use, we really need to know exactly what the volt amp is of that fixture. If they have 20 path lights on the job that we didn't make, we may not be able to find out what the actual volt amps is, and we need that when we do the calculations and transformer sizing. So,
and that's an important point, because most people that I work with tend to talk about things in watts.
right.
Just be aware that volt amps is actually how much power it's using. Watts is a calculated number that's kind of a guesstimate. Volt amps is the actual amount of power. So one 2-watt lamp from one company will not use the same volt amps as a lamp from another company. If you deviate from what we have preloaded for ours and we don't have that information, we could give you an incorrect, well, we won't, because Dr. Tom won't wire it if he doesn't have that information, correct?
That's correct. And something you have to keep in mind is I'm not going to mention other companies' names, but some companies have much more efficient LEDs than others. And you may find an LED that's, let's just say it says it's 9 watts. In reality, with the volt amps, it could be drawing closer to 15 or 16. So it's very important to get the volt amp for that fixture, because that could overload wires, that could overload the transformer. We need that information to make a legitimate, foolproof engineered plan. We need that information. So sometimes, I may be shooting emails back and forth with somebody asking questions, but the reason these questions are coming is because we want to make the best plan possible for you. We don't want to just put things out there that we hope functions. We hope it works. We want to make sure it works. It's properly
Okay,
wired.
so we have a customer, they come to the website, they put their information in. They can click whether they want a full set of plans, excuse me, wiring, etc. Do you suggest getting wiring on first shot every time?
No. What we do a lot of times is, I used to be a contractor, so I know what happens. You go to a homeowner's house and, bless their hearts, they, everyone's the same way. You kind of want it all. But the reality is I'm going to go back to material budget. You need to get to a reality. So what I tell people is, let's create a design. If they don't know what the budget is, they're not sure how far the homeowner wants to go. I used to walk with the homeowners through a yard and discuss all the lighting aspects to get a feel for what they want. I'd be marking that down on my hand-drawn plan. Now, when they actually see the material bid or the bid for this job, might be shocking to them. It might be much more than they wanted to pay. So long story short, what I usually suggest is, let's lay out the fixtures. Let's lay out a basic design on the plan, but we won't go as far as wiring it and calculating transformers. That's a lot of work. Let's just lay out the fixtures. Let's create the design, then present that to the homeowner and say, this is the design we came up with. And you can use those fixtures, that legend, to get a general idea for the budget, a general cost.
Yep.
And if they're good with that, if they think that's beautiful, as often as taking away fixtures, I have people adding fixtures. I try not to go too crazy when I put the fixtures on the plan. Sometimes they'll add, but it gives everyone a good baseline, a good understanding of what the design is going to be. And once people are in agreement that that's what they want, then we engineer it. Then we put it back to SDSP and wire it, do all the transformers. So those basic plans with the fixtures, we call them light, L-I-T-E, a light plan. And that's just the fixture layout.
And then once they've approved that, you can do the work to get the wiring and all that done. So they go on the website, they submit all their stuff to you. Where do they put in their credit card or their Venmo or whatever?
This is a free service, like I said, and it's really a handshake for using our Odyssey line. It was developed back when Unique had the Odyssey line and really didn't have other lines. So it's not that we don't want to use our lower level lines, but really the lower level is the economy installation. Let's say, 6 uplights and 4 path lights. It's a basic job. You don't really need a design for that. But this was a service. It was an accommodation to landscape architects, and then it extended to landscape contractors for using our Odyssey line, that we would do this service. We would put all this work in at no charge.
So when you get all of this done, they'll have a legend, they'll have a regular set of CAD plans like they're used to. They'll have all the calculations on a separate spreadsheet, and then they can go ahead and make their bid quickly and easily off of that.
That's correct. The transformer calc sheets actually even gives a listing for every single run, every single hub, how many feet of wire you need. So you're going to come up with I would call it a 95% material bid. You can go in and get a quote, at your distributor and really understand what this job's going to cost. For a contractor, that's important because then he knows for sure he's not being nickeled and dimed, running back and forth, buying things that he didn't think about. It's all on the plan. So he has a legitimate material list of what he needs, and he can bid it properly then for his labor.
Okay. Sounds good. Is there a minimum job or a maximum job that you guys won't take?
No, I've done jobs that were 10 lights, and we do jobs, people don't believe it. We do jobs of 1,000 lights all the time. We do large commercial projects all the time, and residents, surprisingly, that have that many fixtures. And that, again, is where SDSP is important. When I would talk to a contractor and be trying to train them, I would say, look, don't be afraid of a 500 light job. You're eating an elephant one bite at a time. It's really a lot of small jobs on one property. You have one transformer that's going to drive around 30 fixtures. Well, times that by 10. It might be 10 transformers and 300 fixtures, but it's really 30 small jobs on one property. And so if you look at it from that point of view, it's not as daunting as you think it is. You're really working with multiple little systems.
They've sent it in, you've got it, you're sending it out to your team of architects and designers to get it completed. How long does that take typically?
It takes 7 to 10 days. And really where that is the better that you communicate with us, the quicker we can get the plan done. If you submit a plan and I have questions like where are the transformers going or how wide is the driveway for scale, as we're going back and forth, getting more information to complete the plan, the quicker the customer works with us, the quicker we will get this plan out to them. So it's on an average 7 to 10 days. It is a normal turnaround. It's not that long.
Perfect.
It doesn't take that long.
A free service in a week or just over, they get you a full set of plans with engineering as well. It seems like a pretty nice little benefit for contractors and architects.
And, truth be told, I know some people that put this on plan and they charge for this design service. Well, we're not saying that you can't do that. You're still getting that design for a homeowner. It has a value, and
Excellent.
so we're taking work off your desk, work that they have to do. We're taking it off and we're doing it for them.
So thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate all of you listening. We're going to get you the link at the end of the video and in the comments about how you can submit your form. And hopefully you'll start sending in some of those projects that Dr. Tom can see through for you.
The one thing I'd like to just point out, though, just keep in mind, too, when you create a plan, we now have scenes. We call them scenes with Light Logic. So define your property. If you want the front yard to be scene 1, backyard to be scene 2, or a specific area to be scene 3, you want to always make sure you have a transformer location for that scene. Just keep that in mind so we can create those scenes for you.
So any lights you're going to use at the same time, mark those up so we know those ones are all going to be used at one time.
That's correct.
Separately from others.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, well, thank you very much for your time, Dr. Tom. I hope you have a great holiday season.
Yep.
For more information on SDSP and how to submit a plan, please visit www.uniquelighting.com/design-services.